Hi, this is Ken Iverson in Kent, Washington, USA. It's Friday morning, early Friday morning, uh, September 10th, the day before the anniversary of September 11th, 2001. It's 3:37 in the morning, in the a.m., and I've yet to be to bed tonight. So we'll wrap this up with this segment most likely, or maybe I'll do one more. I'm feeling kind of I'm feeling it tonight. So anyway, I was reading an article from the Kent Reporter, uh, the little newspaper here, not little newspaper, it's a good newspaper, a very good newspaper here in the city of Kent. And it's called Peace Day. Organizer of Kent event introduces himself. And I wrote the article. Laura Pierce, the editor of the Reporter, asked me to write it to introduce myself to the Kent community for Peace Day on July 10th. This was, I believe, this was in the paper on July 8th, something like that, Friday, July 8th. And so I had gotten to the point where I said, it's a long way from a mock election in Aaron Henry in November 1963 to the White House, and a long way back to this civil rights worker from the White House today. On July 6th, that's today, that was the day I wrote this article. On July 6th, I got a call from an assistant to the president saying, unfortunately, the president would not be able to attend Peace Day, July 10th. I had invited him and the first family last week. So who is this organizer? Let me say that I was really I told Miss Brody, Christina Brody, who was the assistant to the president. He had asked her to call me, and I told her that I was I wish I invited President Obama next year. I said I hope he was able to make it next year, and I said that I would send him a letter after Peace Day, letting him know how it went. And we have a video. James Starlin, the videographer, and I are editing a video right now, and we will be sending it to President Obama, probably a 15 to 20 minute cut DVD of the whole 2 hour event. So we'll be sending that to him probably in September or later this month. So who is this organizer of Peace Day? I am an Obama Democrat. I am a full-fledged volunteer community organizer with Organizing for America, seeking to promote the Obama agenda and to recruit others to do the same. OFA, Organizing for America, is a continuation of the Obama campaign organization from 2008. Our aim is to elect and re-elect candidates who support the Obama agenda. In this area, that means U.S. Representative Adam Smith and Susan DelBene. She's the candidate, the challenger to Dave Reichert in the Washington CD 8, Congressional District 8. And I think she's got a good chance of beating Reichert. I think Reichert's way in over his head. He was probably a pretty good detective, although it did take him 20 years to trace down to apprehend Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer. That's what made Reichert famous, and he was sheriff after that. And then he was elected to Congress, and he was maybe inadequate detective, although 20 years is a long time. It took him to trace down Ridgway, and he may have been an okay sheriff, but he's way in over his head in Washington, D.C. It's an embarrassment to see him floundering around back there. At least that's my opinion. Sorry, Dave. And for the U.S. Senate, Senator, that means Patty Murray. She is the way head and shoulders above Dino Rossi. Dino Rossi is a sleazeball. He really is. He had some ads which were despicable. I think I mentioned this before. So who really is this guy, Ken Iverson? I secured a loan for Peace Day from a small credit union in Seattle. That was the Express Credit Union of Seattle. Thank you, Express Credit Union of Seattle, for the loan. I will use it to pay for the rental of the Kent Meridian Performing Arts Center the night of Peace Day. Thank you for this opportunity to introduce myself. And then I signed to Ken Iverson in Kent, Washington, USA. Let me say that Bank of America would not give me a loan. I've been a valued customer since 1986 at Bank of America, and this is a consumer-driven economy in this country, and they have to, the banks, Wells, the big banks, Wells, Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, have to loan money if this were ever to get out of the recession we're in now. And they have to loan to consumers, and they have to loan to small businesses, and they're not doing that. I had to go to a small credit union to get a loan for $800, and I was told by my personal banker, Jake Bowie, at BUI at Bank of America, that Bank of America had been burnt. And I can guarantee you, I was not going to burn them. I will pay the Express Credit Union of Seattle the money I owe them, the $800, $71.33 a month for 12 months. I shall pay them back, and there's no doubt that I shall do that. And I would not burn Bank of America for $800. And I imagine Bank of America is they're so financially strapped that they couldn't afford $800 even if I didn't pay it back. I'm being sarcastic now, if there's any doubt. Bank of America has turned out to be a disappointment to me, and I am going to transfer my personal checking account to Express Credit Union of Seattle. I have an account with them now, but I haven't done the paperwork to get my my check direct deposited to my account. So I will not be banking with Bank of America. I may have to stay there for the Peace Day account, because I'm not sure that Express Credit Union handles business accounts. So I may have to stay with Bank of America, and even at that, I may go to Chase or Wells Fargo or someplace like that. I graduated at the same time as Dick Kovacevic, who went to Enumclaw High School, which is near Kent here. We both entered Stanford at the same time, the class of '65, and we entered in the fall of 1961. Dick Kovacevic was the CEO and president of Wells Fargo Bank, and he's chairman of the board. And he retired recently, and I wrote to him on whitehouse.gov, and I said, what the hell happened to Wells Fargo, Dick, after you retired? Did it go to hell? And I asked him to give me a call, and apparently he hasn't seen that, or he's decided not to give me a call. And I asked him to talk to the present holders of the flame at Wells Fargo and tell them to start loaning money, because we're not going to get out of the recession unless they loan money. I don't know if the administration can force Wells and Chase and Bank of America to loan money or not. I would hope that they could, but maybe there's some sort of, maybe that's prescribed. I don't know. Anyway, so this is give you an idea of what I am about. Let me tell you my aspirations. Some of them dashed. When I was an undergraduate at Stanford, I aspired to be a professor of African history. And one of the reasons, there were several reasons, but one of the reasons that I didn't pursue that was I was white. And when I was in Africa, in the Gambia, in the summer of '64, there was a lot of animosity towards white people, not Americans, but towards the British. They colonized the Gambia. It was a colony and a protectorate. And there was a lot of resentment towards the British, and they kicked him out. They told him to go home to England. One guy, Peter Cavey, was the headmaster of Undham College, where I spent the summer with African students, and they asked him to leave. And the Gambia gained its independence in February of 1965, and Peter Cavey was gone shortly after that. He spent 30 years of his life in Africa. And, you know, the Africans had the right, and they told him to leave. So he did. And I I thought maybe I would run into some of that as an American. Well, not as an American, but just being white. So I decided not to pursue that. And life got in the way. That's another reason. I had some problems, and life got in the way, and I did not pursue that. Then I wanted to. I mentioned this earlier. I wanted to. I thought about law school, and decided against that. Again, life got in the way. I'll explain that later sometime. But I decided that I wasn't interested in winning as much as I was interested in justice and truth. And the law isn't about justice, as nearly as I can determine. The law is about winning and good arguments. And I wanted truth and justice and right, and that I didn't see that happening in the law. So I decided not to pursue that. And then social work is something else that I thought about. This was when I worked at Miramonte. I mentioned Miramonte before. That I thought about going to social work school and becoming an MSW, a Master of Social Work. And that was probably the least, I was probably cut out for that. I could probably have handled that. But again, life caught up with me. I had one thing, I had to make a living, and the other is I have an illness. And that illness we'll talk about sometime, because I think it might be valuable for people to hear what I have to say about my illness. It's the same illness that Abraham Lincoln had. It's called, well, I won't tell you what it's called because it's got a name that when you say that, people categorize you. They label you and they put you into categories. And I don't want that to happen to me, although I have mentioned, if you go through the videos that I've recorded on YouTube since last weekend, it's on there, what the diagnosis that I have. If Lincoln had been, if Lincoln had were running for president today, he would never make it. He would not even be nominated. Thomas Eagleton in 1972 was the running mate of George McGovern. McGovern selected him as a vice presidential nominee. And Thomas Eagleton had been hospitalized once for depression, I think twice for depression. And the press gave him all kinds of flack, and people were up in the arms. How could a person with depression handle the Oval Office in the event that George McGovern were to not serve out his term? And so Thomas Eagleton, I don't know whether Eagleton withdrew or McGovern said withdraw or just what, but they really skewered Thomas Eagleton in the press. So Thomas Eagleton was a good man. I don't know if he's still alive or not. I imagine he is, but that was disgraceful what happened to Thomas Eagleton, and that set back mental health in this country, I believe. That's too bad. So anyway, so I had thought about social work school, and I never did apply. I had the applications, and I started to fill out the forms, and then, as I said, life caught up with me. My illness caught up with me. I'm thriving now. I'll tell you a little bit about that right now. I'm thriving. Since November 13th of 2009, about just a little less than a year ago, I started taking a medication called Saphris. And Saphris is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I'm thriving now, and it's a wonderful, wonderful medication. I knew I liked the Dutch when I was in Europe. I visited Holland, and everything from their attitude towards drug to euthanasia to prostitution, things like that. Their attitudes were impressed me. And it's the Dutch. The Saphris is made by a company, Sharing Plow, in Holland, in the Netherlands, and I don't know whether they developed the drug or not, but that's where it's made, and it's changed my life, and my life is getting better every day, and it's due to Saphris, or partly due to Saphris. I mean, I think I have something on the ball aside from any medication I take, but it has changed my life. and I'll talk more about that. I'll address one of these videos to the mentally ill, and I shall talk about my experiences and Saphris and the other medications I've taken.